I mean, for you, I'd have to imagine, Travis, it was like a giddy feeling. Like I get to cover Steve Spurrier. Like this is like every media member's dream, basically.
Yeah. And so I was at the introductory press conference in, I guess it would have been December 2004.
Mm.
And I remember all of it vividly. And I've been to a lot of press conferences since then, but I remember that one really distinctly because of who he was. I mean, he was such a huge figure in college football, and obviously the Washington NFL experience did not go very well. So here he was trying to kind of put himself back in relevance, or try and put himself back in a successful light. And I remember the "why not us?" That was the thing that stuck out to me, that he leaned on the Red Sox had finally won a World Series. So why can't South Carolina be successful? And it took a while, but he turned out to be right about that. And so I do remember being happy about it, but that was also the time when I left to go cover the Braves. So I thought, well, I'm not going to be here.
Right.
And then when I came back in 2007, it just hadn't gotten off the ground. So I think I was excited in some respects to be covering him, but also curious if it was actually going to work, because they'd had moderate success. They knocked off Florida. Like they'd had wins, like they beaten Tennessee, but they hadn't had any. They were going to really low level bowl games, and it obviously didn't start the way that it finished, or that window of time from 09 to 12 or 13. So I wasn't really sure what I was getting into, to be honest with you. But I do remember, I'll tell a story. It involves you a person. I think it was 07. It was the first Spurrier media golf outing that I got to play in. And so I'm riding in the cart with Spurrier, which was a pretty intimidating experience for, I didn't know him at that point in time. Certainly, I think it's the only time I played golf with him. He's not the most fun person to play golf with. I'm sure other people on the show have told you that. Like, he wants to play so freaking fast that it's uncomfortable. Like, I mean, you're not in any sort of rhythm at all. Like, I'm somebody who plays a pretty good amount, and you're just so stuck in like, I don't want to piss this guy off, that you're trying to just play as fast as you can and like lightning quick. And the funniest part of that day was, so it was me, Joe Person from the State, and Rick Scoppy, who was at that point in time the beat writer for the Greenville paper, playing with Spurrier. And we got sort of hot early on. Like, we started playing pretty well, and you could see the competitiveness in his eyes. Like, you could see it start to come on, and he's like, okay, guys, come on, we can win this thing. Like, he's wanting to win his own dang media golf tournament. And so we get to the turn, and the way that it was set up was, he was supposed to hand off and go play the back nine with the radio guys. So it would have been like Phil Kornblut and those guys. And the DC at that time, Tyrone Nix, was supposed to play with us on the riders on the backside. And Spurrier goes, no, we're just going to keep on going. We're just going to keep going. We're winning. We're going to keep playing. So not only, just imagine like these stunned faces of people who thought they were about to get to play with Spurrier, and they didn't. And then we wound up actually playing through their group, which I've never done in a scramble in the history of any golf tournament. Like, we just kept going. Like, we didn't stop. And that was him. I mean, he was competitive enough that he thought he had a chance to win his own golf tournament, which we didn't. So that was the worst part, was the back nine. We didn't play well. And he's, doing everything short of MFing us, that we're not carrying our part. And I remember he was giving me a hard time about like where I was hitting my driver. And I'm like, dude, like, you're not doing anything either. I don't really understand. But letting him down sucked. Like, that wasn't a very fun moment. But that, and him finding out that I went to Tennessee, he thought that was really fun. And so he started reliving some of the best Florida wins against Tennessee, and all the digs he had against Fulmer, and he had a good time with that. That was the funny thing about him, was he would always associate. I mean, we can be honest at this point. I think like he's actually a pretty socially awkward person.
Right.
And so like in conversation, his buddies like Bob Stoops and those guys, like, he's going to be tight and cool with them. But like somebody like me or Joe or whoever, like, he's going to find like this one thing, and then that's the thing that he knows you as. And then he'll bring that one thing up, and that's like his way of, whatever. I guess he's being nice, trying to connect with you. Right. But, for me, it was always Tennessee, right? Like, so it was always, hey, Trev, how the Vols doing? And at that point in time, it was not very good. And so he always knew what he was doing as far as getting those jabs in, even if it was just in private.